world seems harsh for an entrepreneur just starting out, with many difficult tasks like finding investors, gathering funds, nurturing a team, and building a product. Founders often are found overwhelmed and directionless. To relieve this tension, we at Goodfirms conducted interviews with successful IT companies and discussed trending topics as well as their impact on the IT industry. So, without any further ado, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to this new episode of the Goodfirms Leaders Roundtable podcast, wherein we talk everything about business, technology, and entrepreneurship. I'm Suhana Bhattacharya, marketing head at Firms, and today we have with us Sourav Sinha, who is the co-founder of Brainium Information Technologies Private Limited. Sourav is an avid writer who writes regularly on LinkedIn about leadership and sales. Also, speaking of sales, he's the author of the book The Diamond Way, wherein he talks about a step-by-step guide to enjoy the sales process, and also for the love of cricket, he's the author of the book The 12th Man. So thank you so much for joining in today, Sourav. And before moving further, I just wanted to clarify, is there anything that I've missed in the introduction that you would like to add?
No. Absolutely fine. No problem.
Okay. So when our team was researching a topic to assign to you, given your experience, we saw on LinkedIn as well that you have headed multiple companies for almost a decade or so. We at Goodfirms couldn't think of a better topic to discuss with you than the topic of B2B customer experience. So we'll begin with the first question. So, when we see in the B2C sector, customer experience has always been a very thing of top priority. But a B2B industry, we have noticed a different thing. But since things are slowly changing and B2B companies are also putting customer experience at the front. So, what has changed? Why is there a sudden realization of the growing importance of the B2B customer experience?
Yeah, see, even if you look that though the business is about business to business, but I always believe it is a people to people or a person to person business. So I always call it as like P2P. Why? Because finally it's one decision taker. So how well you are able to communicate with that person, build a relationship, and be on the customer's timeline or the thinking that we are going to provide that kind of an experience, which is as good as when it comes to B2C. Because what happens is, in business, we are always talking of this B2C segment where the customers, because there is a lot of customers. But in B2B, we tend to change the concept. But that is no longer true, because you need to be there with the customer to make him feel connected, because finally you are solving a problem for that customer. So how well you are solving the problem, that is what you need to focus on. And people realizes that today, which was probably not there a couple of years back.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a very true point, because people want to feel connected with their business. They just don't want to feel like, I've given the project to them and they are doing my work. They want to be involved in the process. Okay. So moving forward, I think we cannot, talk about customer experience without mentioning the need of personalization. So how does Brainium Information Technologies tailor its various service that they produce, that they give to their clients, to add a touch of personalization for them?
So right from day one, when the customer is just coming as a lead, we assign a person who is there right through the journey. So what happens is that, of course, there is a salesperson who talks with the customer, understand their requirements and give the proposal and all. But once the customer gets on board, we assign a dedicated account manager. And that account manager ensures that whatever was promised is being delivered on time. And once the project is delivered, what we do is that we have a customer experience team. So we do two things. Once the project gets live, we actually do it, we make it an experience, right? So we create a webinar wherein the team from Brainium and the team from the client are there, and we basically launch the product for them. So it gives them a very special feeling that, okay, these people are actually connected with me. And then we hand it over this account to a customer experience manager, who then continues with this person throughout. So there are certain times, there are some upgrades that he wants to do. Sometimes he wants, there are certain problems needs to be fixing because supposedly iOS comes up with a new version. So this person is there who is going to coordinate and does coordinate on a daily or a regular basis, keeps in touch so that the experience continues. So it's like a lifelong relationship that we keep with our customers, and that is where we differentiate with our companies.
Okay, I'm sure the whole after project support, makes this experience so much better for the client that is working with Brainium, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I believe that the customer experience has a lot to do with the kind of software development process a company follows. Is it right?
Yeah, we do the agile methodology. That is how we have evolved. It was a waterfall model a few years back, but now we go the agile methodology because that helps the customer also, because we work on sprints, we deliver it. Customer knows, okay, whatever was promised or whatever he or she has had emphasized is how it's coming out. So the agile methodology is the way that we have been moving towards over the last couple of years.
Okay. So, when you mentioned that, at the beginning you used to follow the waterfall method and then you gradually moved on to the agile one. So, for someone who's been hearing our conversation and might be thinking, what is waterfall method? Can you please explain the basic difference between them?
So the waterfall method is something like the customer comes with the requirement and we create a URS, so that user requirement document, and the customer approves that, and then we get into the project, right? We build a UI, then we build a wireframe, then we build a UI, then we start the coding, sometimes in the back end and then the front end, and we integrate. Whereas when it comes to agile, we pick up modules, right? So our project is divided into sprints, into various modules, and we first concentrate only on one module, and we deliver that module 100%, so that there is no ambiguity. Because what happens when you do in waterfall, you work for a long period of time and then you deliver, and what happens then, the customer realizes, no, I want it in this way, this module. Then there is too much of rework. Whereas in agile methodology, that rework time reduces because you are delivering in sprints.
Okay. And I also believe that, agile methodology is a lot more better way to follow, even for developers as well, because they don't have to work on multiple projects, constantly keep bringing updates and changes.
Exactly. That is why, because when you are working on waterfall, you are basically working on a lot of modules. 2-3 people are working together, and there is a lot of mess that's created. But when you are working on sprint ways, you know that I'm focused on this module and I will deliver this module within this time. Now, whatever changes are required, it's working at a continuous way. There is the continuous feedback, and I work on that next day and I deliver it. So the agile methodology ensures that the team is also energized, that I am not doing too much of same work, because every day I know that I am progressing. Whereas in waterfall, sometimes 30-40% of the work could be again scrapped and you would have to do it again.
Exactly. Yes. So as you mentioned that as long as, from the beginning, whenever a client comes, a salesperson is talking to them, so the client goes through the entire journey of, a customer journey that he or she goes through. So the journey which he or she goes through can actually make or break a deal. So what are, in your opinion, some best, business to business marketing practices that companies should adopt so that, they can, get bigger clients and retain them for longer time?
Yeah. So one of the mistakes that I see happening in most B2B companies is that they try to sell the features. They do not sell the benefits. Now, supposedly I am on social media. Now, in my website, I am already talking about what I do. Now, if you repeat that on a daily basis on social media, that is not something, it's like a push selling concept that most of the marketing people are doing. In place of that, the simple motto that I follow is the art of storytelling. So sell the benefits, not the features. Like explain the why of your brand and how you are doing, rather than going into the what. So if you have read this book of Simon Sinek, it talks about the why. So first the why, then the how, and then the what. The what is already explained in your website. So you just explain why you are in business, and why you think the customers are going to be benefited by working with you, and how you do it. So one of the best ways of doing it is the customer testimonials. So there are various ways, like you can come up with customer stories, case studies. You can come up with customer video testimonials. What were the problems and how, as a company, you have been able to solve that problem. So this is how you need to market yourselves, rather than telling, okay, I am going to do this project, I can do this work, I can do that. So stop the what, focus on why and how, and I think I'm very sure you are going to get much better benefits in B2B marketing.
Okay, and I think this is a great advice coming from someone who has written a sales, a book who can guide the salespersons and the marketeers, bringing better clients. So focusing on the why and the how instead of just what I'm giving, what I'm serving is very much important.
Correct.
Okay, so moving from customers' experience is very much influenced right now by technology, and when in this technology driven world we cannot live without artificial intelligence or chatbots, which are in high demand, because every website or any other website that you land on has a chatbot stationed there, which reduces time to resolution. But there's still a long way to go, I believe. Chatbots work independently without compromising on the quality or the human touch that the traditional customer support used to give.
Yeah, so as we see that in banking and insurance and some other B2C sectors, the chatbots are the main way you can actually get all the information. But in the B2B sector, I think it is in a very, very nascent stage. Probably the initial support you can provide with chatbot, but I think in the second stage, the human intervention is very much required. So I think we are still a little bit far off to actually depend on the chatbots to take care of customer support. It will eventually happen, but right now we are not yet confident, because even our case also, we have the chats. There is a human being who is there during the working hours. So we still believe that we are still a few years away from being dependent completely on chatbots.
Definitely. And chatbot stationed at different platforms may obviously bring in leads, but that kind of nurturing that a client might actually need can be given by a human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So companies often believe that a project that is delivered on time ensures optimum satisfaction, but sometimes it may happen that optimum satisfaction may not lead to high loyalty. The other project might not be coming back to you or back to the other company which delivered the work to them. So what are your views on this?
This is something I do not 100% agree, because for us, we have seen that 99% of the cases, if we are able to satisfy the customer, they keep coming back to us. That is one of the reasons why we have that account manager and the customer excellence manager, who ensures that we are always in their bandwidth, we are always in touch. So they know that if there is anything, I know someone, and because they have been talking with me. So probably that is one reason. And the second thing is that sometimes they come directly, and sometimes they give us the indirect benefits. They give us references of some of his friends or relatives that this person requires a requirement. And this is something that 20% of our business, 30% continuously, they keep on coming through these referrals. And that only happens because we have been delivering quality project on time.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So due to the social media rise, now there are a lot of B2C companies that are offering omni-channel experiences, being present on various kinds of platforms so that they are available with the customers all the time, literally. So B2B customers are eager to see the same tech savvy or customized solutions in their work. So can you please provide our listeners with some key tips or key takeaways on how to master this omni-channel customers experience in this B2B sector?
Yeah, one of the things that is very much important is that how you are communicating at all levels, right? So when a customer comes, he can come through LinkedIn. So probably the he was approached by one of the business development team members over LinkedIn, how he spoke and what he spoke, that entire thing has to continue throughout the customer's journey. And that same thing has to be felt by the customer, that there is no change. Whatever was there is going on. I was told this, and that is how it is being done. So one of the things that needs to be done is that you need to train your managers properly in all the departments, right from the customer service till the sales personnel, till your marketing team, as well as the project management team. They should all speak the same language. Now we have the people who are managing the chat. Now the people who are managing the chat, they are going to talk in the same tone and the other salesperson who is probably calling the customer, or the project manager who is talking with the customer. For this, there needs to be a dedicated training team who should be always on a training mode. And what we have an audit team also. So these training sessions are recorded and it is played on and on. And the leadership, what they do, they take sessions, right? Once in a month or twice in a month. They keep on talking that same values. What is our value system? So this gets ingrained. It is not something that you write on your website and everybody are going to learn about it. Doesn't happen. You have to do it on a daily basis for the people to pick up that this is what you stand for. And then only they will automatically talk about it to their customers, and you will get benefit.
Okay, and I think the word sync very much fits with this topic, because the sync of the entire team from the first to the end point is very much important.
Correct.
And the audit team that you have is, I think, a very good move to have in an organization, so that the audit team can constantly check that did we even deliver what we have promised.
Absolutely. We need to have an audit team. Without that, you will never know where the problems are. It is not the human being that's the problem. It is always about the process. Definitely. So when you have an audit team, you can actually work on the process. So problems can happen, but it is not you need not blame the human being for that. It's definitely the process problem. Rectify that process. Things will go back to normalcy.
Definitely. And if I would have been a startup and if I would have been hearing this conversation, I would definitely have a thought that how did Brainium information technology have a variety of clients, from large scale projects to small ones? So could you please name 3 more popular B2B clients, and what is the customer experience success that you have learned while doing business with them?
Yeah, only thing that I remember and I continue doing is that communicate properly and transparently. So whatever has been promised, that needs to be delivered. I think that is the only learning that I have learned, that you keep your promise to your employees as well as to your customers. When you do that, your customers will be happy. So customers also understand that there can be troubles, and it does happen, right? Certain things are not in our control. But if you keep the relationship strong, the communication is always transparent, they understand. Right? So when there was this Amphan in Calcutta, almost like 3-4 days, there was no internet, nothing. So what I did, I personally sent an email to each of the people, each of the customers, almost 24 hours before that something of this sort is coming. There is a chance that we might break out for almost 5 to 6 days. And many of the customers actually wrote back thanking me that we have never got it from any other company. You are the only company who have actually told us before that. So that is one. And when coming to customers, in Calcutta, we have worked for Flurries. It's one of the biggest cake shops, bakery shops in Calcutta. We created their e-commerce platform. And during COVID period, it was a big boon for them during the pandemic. And we actually worked on a couple of startups. One is Cargos, which is mainly a digital freight system, which is based in Canada. And it's doing very well. It was a startup that we worked on. And there is another startup in UK, which is known as Click It Foods Limited, which is coming up with a very specialized product, which is going to take care of the entire restaurant management. So it's like a restaurant ERP that is being created, which will be a platform where all restaurants can come in, and through that subscription model, they can manage the orders, the table booking, deliveries, everything via one platform. So these are our 3 unique customers.
Okay, so this is a very interesting portfolio that you just mentioned, and I'm sure there's more to it. And also the incident that you mentioned of the Amphan thing that came in Kolkata, and the kind of letting your customers know something can go wrong definitely brings up that honesty is the best policy.
Absolutely.
Okay. So moving on to the last question, as we are talking on customers' experience, like we would really like to know how has Goodfirms helped your company, Brainium Information Technologies, and have a better impact with your existing and your future clients?
Yeah, because Goodfirms has helped us in getting more visibility. So that's the number one. Because people search the internet looking for service providers. And of course, our website comes up, but Goodfirms website also comes up where we are listed, right? There are portfolio items, there are customer testimonials inside Goodfirms. When I search in Google, when people search for Brainium, it comes on the right-hand side in my page. It shows under reviews that in the Goodfirm, we have got so many reviews. What is our star rating and all this? So this has been the biggest help, because finally people will buy from you when they are confident that others have been satisfied. And this is where Goodfirms has helped us with our brand visibility, and customers actually end up landing in our website through Goodfirms. So I am very hopeful that in the future we'll be able to gain more traction from your platform.
Definitely. And adding, as Brainium keeps adding more and more projects, more and more reviews on to Goodfirms on their websites as well. So we are sure that Goodfirms will bring more traction to the website.
Yeah, I am very sure about that.
Okay, so I think this was a wonderful conversation, and we are sure that the listeners will learn a lot from it. So thank you so much for giving your time here.
Yeah, thank you. And it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.